Welcome and good morning. This is the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Clemson, and I'm Dillman Baker Sorrells, a retired Unitarian Universalist minister, and acting as worship associate this morning as part of the congregation's worship team. Each week, this congregation comes together to participate in worship, music, and reflection. This is where we come to open our hearts and to fire our imaginations. It is here that reminds us that we are deeply connected to each other and to all living things. If you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. We're glad you found us. Even though our building is closed due to the COVID lockdown, we gather together for weekly online worship. At 11:30 on Sunday mornings, we also gather for social connection and the sharing of joys and concerns in our Zoom meeting. Please feel free to join us. This fellowship is a religious community grounded in the heritage and principles of Unitarian Universalism. We seek to create a loving community to inspire joy and spiritual growth and to support courageous action. All are welcome, regardless of religious background, political persuasion, ethnicity, age, ability, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression. If you wish to explore questions of truth and meaning and are respectful to our diversity of people and beliefs, you've found kindred spirits. If you want more information about this congregation or about Unitarian Universalism, please see information on our website, UUFC.org. If you'd like to get our weekly newsletter, to connect with our community for online social events, our sharing of joys and concerns, and our collective efforts to support courageous social justice work, please reach out to our office by the email on our website. I have a few announcements as well. We have several Zoom meetings coming up this week. Following this service as a social time at 11:30, all are welcome. Wednesday at 2 in the afternoon, there's a coffee hour with our minister, Reverend Christina Branham Martin. Thursday is bingo night at 6:30. In mid-February, a new class on Unitarian Universalism begins online. The upcoming Valentine's Day bake sale is your chance to purchase some of those delectable goodies you remember from our social hour hospitality teams before lockdown. Already 15 members have signed up to bake cookies, bars, fudge, and mini cakes. The selection list will be sent out in a special email in early February with ordering and payment details. Check the weekly connection for Kathy Crane's contacts into information to join the team of bakers or to ask questions. We open our service with words by Kimberly Ann Tomczyk Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You've been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community. A community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love. A people that does not put fences around love. A heart home to nourish your soul and to share your gifts. Welcome home. Welcome to worship.
Hello, I'm Reverend Christina Branham Martin, the interim minister here at the Fellowship of Clemson. It is so good to be with you today. Let us now begin our worship with the lighting of a chalice. And we share in the words of affirmation spoken by this fellowship each week. We gather together in the spirit of love with justice as our guide. This is our chosen covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and freedom, and to care for one another.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Hello, it's good to be with you all again. Today, I'd like to talk with you about something really powerful, hope. But first, I have a question for you. Have you ever hoped for something? And did that thing you hoped for happen? Now, I think all of you probably nodded your head or said yes to my first question. I think all of us hope for things, sometimes big things, sometimes small things. And sometimes those things don't happen, but sometimes they do. I think that hope is kind of like these. Can you see what I have in my hand here? If we were together in our sanctuary, I would give you each one to hold. Do you know what these are? If you do, just go ahead and say it out loud. Grown-ups too. Any ideas? Did you say beans or a bean? That's right, these are beans. In fact, they're lima beans. Do you like lima beans? I think some of you said yes, but I'm pretty sure I also heard some of you say no in a loud voice. That's okay. My husband doesn't like them either, but I like them if they aren't overcooked. But let's take a closer look at one of our beans. What do you think this bean hopes to be one day? That's right, a bean plant. And here's why this little lima bean reminds me of hope. If I just dropped this bean on the floor here in my house and walked away, would it have any hope of becoming a nice, big, bushy bean plant someday? No, it wouldn't, would it? What does it need? Go ahead, say your answers out loud. That's right. This little bean needs water, air, sunshine, and dirt. Have you ever done this experiment, either at school or at a camp or even at home just for fun? You take a bean and you soak it in a little bit of water overnight. Then you take a wet paper towel and you put it in a little Ziploc bag with your bean, and then you tape it on a sunny window. In a few days, something wonderful happens. Your little bean starts to sprout, just like this one I have here. If you look close, you can see a little green stem starting to push out of the bean. And when you take that little sprout and put it in some soil, it can start to put down roots and grow bigger leaves and eventually blossom. Like beans, our hope needs other things to come to life. First, we start with our imaginations. We imagine that thing we are hoping for. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine something you are hoping for. Your hopes are like these little lima beans. They just need a little work, care, action, help, and luck to ever really come to life, like the little bean becomes a big bean plant. I have one more important question for you. Could you ever have a big, bushy, healthy bean plant without first having a bean? No. The same way, every great thing anyone's ever done began with hope, with someone's imagination of what could be, plus action to help it grow to life. That's the power of hope. Think about that the next time you hold a simple little bean in your hand.
Today we mark the turning of a season. There is a cycle to life, and everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and this is true of life, of communities, and yes, it is even true of leadership positions. They do sometimes come to an end. And so let us celebrate and honor the cycle of leadership transition today. First, we honor the outgoing board members. You, dear leaders, have served us well. The work of the church is the work of the people. It is the work of building the world of which we dream. It may require time spent poring over budget sheets, hours spent in meetings where small details are hashed out. It may manifest in shared laughter and even sometimes frustration. But time to time that happens, but always it is sacred, for it is in pursuit of the beloved community. By your service, you have helped nurture and meet the needs for personal spiritual growth, inspirational worship, and a mutually caring community. You have helped us devote ourselves to religious learning for all ages, for embracing human diversity by welcoming individuals and families of all kinds, and join with the larger community to promote love, justice, and service to society. Today, we thank you. May the congregation join me in saying, wherever you are at home watching this service. For this, we thank you. Dave Sanders, you are at the end of your year as the board president. Thank you. Tom Hebel, you have come to the end of your role as immediate past president. Bing Johnson, you have ended your time as the chief financial officer. Kathy Crane and Cecil Huey, you are ending terms as the at-large representatives on the board. Know that you have been known to be thoughtful leaders and stewards of the congregation, and that as you end your commitments that you have held with such care, know that the work you have done to date is now handed off in good faith to those coming onto the board and into new roles. And as you make these transitions from these roles, know that each ending is also a beginning. The beginning of a new role, or perhaps the beginning of a time when you can focus more simply on being part of the fellowship, in worship, and in community, beginning a time of renewal. We trust that you will find the right way to nurture your spirit and serve this community. It may even be on a new committee. May the congregation join me in saying, for this, we thank you. Now, fellowship members, take a moment to hold in your heart the board members for this current year. We will now see pictures of them. This year's board president is Holly Ulbrich. Derek Wilmot is the president-elect. Dave Sanders will stay on the board as the immediate past president. Martha Alexander is our beloved secretary. Susie Marcus serves with the Council of Committees, and Michael Elder as Chief Financial Officer. We acknowledge today as a community that the acceptance of the position on the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Clemson Board of Trustees is a call to commitment, to diligent work, and to continuous learning on the part of each trustee as they take on the mantle of responsibility inherent in this vitally necessary position. For the Board of Trustees is empowered to take on action on behalf of its members, and it is by relying on our shared values in the pursuit of our common vision that the board will ensure success for all of us as we journey together. We recognize that the members of the congregation and the members of the board will not always agree on the path to take towards our common goals. And so challenges are inevitable along the way. We believe that resolution will best be found by approaching one another in love and in trust, each confident in each other's devotion to the organization and its members. Members of the Board of Trustees, in recognition of the importance of the trust given to you by the members of this fellowship, who have elected you to serve in this capacity, we ask of you to affirm your commitment publicly this afternoon in your board meeting that will gather. We ask of you these promises. To promise to remain faithful in trust to the members of this fellowship and to work on their behalf in pursuit of the congregation. And to promise to use your own unique gifts to serve and care for the organization and its members to the best of your ability. And to respect the bylaws as direction given to you by the members, to read and to understand the bylaws, and to follow them to the best of your ability. And to honor your fiduciary duty to the congregation by avoiding conflicts of interest with the function, mission, and vision of the congregation by its members. If you agree, you will respond with, "I do so promise." Board members, with the promise to do so, you will be charged to use your light, to inspire us to use our powers, to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve the congregation. As members of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, we also commit to you, the board, to promise to remain faithful in trust to the members of the Board of Trustees, to respectfully acknowledge their uncompensated commitment to work on your behalf, and to recognize that the members of the board cannot succeed alone, and agree to work with the board to the best of your ability. May the congregation now gathered join me in saying, "I do so promise." With joy, we have come to the end of this litany and the start of a new year at the UUFC. Welcome, new board. Please join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. In this quiet moment, we share these words called "Drawn Together" by Jennifer Grayson. We come together every week, bound not by a creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods, yet we are drawn together. We are drawn together by a belief that how we are in the world, who we are, matters. We come together here in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world. Amen, and blessed be. We open our service with these words from our late beloved colleague, Gordon McKeeman.
It's about ministry. Ministry is what we all do together. Ministry is that quality of relationships that affirms human dignity, beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deep, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope and liberation. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate triumphs of human nature, miracles of birth and life, wonders of devotion and sacrifice. Ministry is what we do together with one another in terror and torment, in grief, in misery, and in pain, enabling us, however, in the presence of death, to say yes to life. We who minister, speak, and live the best we know how, with full knowledge that it is never quite enough. And yet we are reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joy shared. Ministry is what we all do together.
I came to this fellowship as your interim minister in mid-August of last year. It's been a busy 6 months of introductions and getting to know the talented staff, learning how things are done around here, working with the committees, and so many online meetings. And last but not least, it has been so busy with all of us figuring out how to weather the storm as a fellowship in a pandemic. This spring begins much of the intentional congregational work of the interim ministry. There are 5 essential tasks for us to accomplish together during my time here. Coming to terms with the past, discovering a new identity, allowing new leadership to emerge, renewing denominational linkages, and committing to new directions in ministry. The ultimate goal of all of this work is for you to call a minister who will stay and spend many years with you at the fellowship. And part of the deal of interim ministry is that I come pre-fired. I don't get to keep you, and you don't get to keep me. Who will ultimately be your minister, your next minister, is a mystery. A question yet to be answered, a future still undecided. And these interim years are a time to engage the teaching of wise sages throughout time who have taught the wisdom of uncertainty. Uncertainty causes so much fear and trepidation. Interim Minister Reverend Diane Daugert reflects that interim ministry comes to mind in this quote from J.R. Tolkien's classic tale, The Hobbit. Gandalf, the wizard in The Hobbit, said, "It does not do to leave a live dragon out of your calculations if you live near him." We can also add these words to our reflection of John Lennon, who said, "Life is what happens while you are busy making other plans." Reverend Daugert writes on the work of interim ministry with these further reflections on uncertainty. She begins, "As humans, we have the ability to think about the future, and we seem to have an innate desire to be in control. One way of being in control is to make plans for the future, And the only problem with planning on the future is that it's based on the past. But if we look at the past honestly and compare it to the present, we see how much has changed and how much of that change was beyond our control. The field of psychology has shown that people prefer certainty over uncertainty. We prefer our leaders to be decisive. We are constantly being told to take control of our lives. Studies have shown that when given a choice, people will choose the option of knowing they will receive an electric shock over the option of maybe receiving an electrical shock or not. Let that sink in for a minute. People will choose certain pain over the possibility of no pain. We have a tendency to choose the known over the unknown, even when the known is unpleasant. These studies give some insight into why it is that people tend to stay or go back to abusive relationships. They may even give insight as to why we continue as humanity to find ourselves at war, even when we know the deadly consequences of war. We seem to have a built-in aversion to uncertainty and a built-in preference for that which we know. You may have seen the cartoon that shows 3 booths at the fair. One booth offers past life regressions. Another offers instructions in meditation. And the third offers fortune telling and a glimpse into the future. Well, the lines at the first and the third are long, while there is no one in the middle booth, except the tender of the booth who is saying, "Can I interest anyone? Anyone in the present moment?" The drive to understand the past and the allure of knowing the future is strong. The only thing that is certain is the present moment. Yet we tend to overlook it while, as John Lennon pointed out, we are busy making other plans. Religion has a role to play in dealing with that uncertainty. The religion that's in the headlines often deals with uncertainty, certainty, with definitive beliefs that leave no room for doubt or question. Beliefs about who is damned and who is saved, who is going to hell and who is going to heaven, who has the right to marry and who does not, who deserves to be rich and who deserves to be poor, who has the right to control the women's and transgender bodies, who should use which bathrooms, and all in the name of God. When these questions, along with the questions of one's own ultimate eternal fate, are decided, the anxiety of uncertainty is kept at bay. Religion has something much deeper and more hopeful to offer. Religious thinkers and teachers and practitioners from a wide spectrum of faith traditions point to uncertainty as an existential reality and an unavoidable part of life. Rather than seeking refuge in its polar opposite, there are gifts to be discovered in the embrace of uncertainty. Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron says, "As human beings, not only do we seek resolution, but we also feel we deserve resolution. Not only do we not deserve resolution, we suffer from resolution. We don't deserve resolution. We deserve something better than that. We deserve our own birthright, which is the middle way, an open state of mind that can relax with paradox and ambiguity. Perhaps what Chodron is saying is that resolution or certainty closes doors, while uncertainty and ambiguity opens them. Opens us to the possibilities that the Catholic nun and scholar Joan Chittister calls the benevolence of the unknown. When we see the unknown as friendly and welcoming instead of hostile and dangerous, we can melt into the stream of life more fully human ourselves. Joanna Macy, Buddhist practitioner and environmental activist, puts it this way: when you make peace with uncertainty, you find a kind of liberation. You are freed from bracing yourself against every piece of bad news and from constantly having to work up a sense of hopelessness in order to act, which can be exhausting. There's a certain equanimity and moral economy that come when you are not constantly computing your chance of success. We have come to be used to all levels of uncertainty, from the economy, the environment, jobs, relationships, life itself. We have known times of uncertainty, such as waiting for the test results from the doctor, waiting for the approval to the bank loan, waiting to find out if we've been accepted to the school of our choice, waiting to find out if we got the job we applied for. When we are in these types of situations, we find ourselves often saying to those around us, the not knowing is the worst. Even if the news is bad, I know what to plan for. The truth is that we never know for sure what the future will hold, at least not with any degree of certainty. Religion has a role to play in dealing with uncertainty, and this is the core of interim ministry. What does our Unitarian Universalist faith have to offer in times such as these? We offer a wide path where diverse groups of people can walk together in the search for truth. We offer a middle way between the past and the future, embracing the here and now as holy and sacred. We offer a community of companions to help us slay the anxiety dragons that live with uncertainty. We offer a religious perspective that is open to new insights and understandings, a religious perspective that sees doubts and questions as necessary attendants of faith. We offer a spiritual practice of humility, bowing before the great mysteries of life that are beyond our knowing. We offer shelter from the storm, a gathering place where we get to give to each other and where we provide for human needs as best as we can. We offer the freedom that comes in knowing that we are not in control of future outcomes, that we are a part of something larger than ourselves that only we can control by our own actions. Yet when we unite our efforts towards the common good, we have a greater impact. We offer forgiveness from freedom. We offer forgiveness and freedom from judgment when life turns out differently than we had planned. We offer the wisdom of uncertainty and the grace that comes from knowing that reality is based in uncertainty. As one of the hymns in our UU hymnal reads, as tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow as one to seek the sea, our kindred hearts and minds unite to build a church that shall be free. The hymn goes on to say, a freedom that reveres the past, but trusts the dawning future more. To trust the dawning future means that we must free ourselves from the preferences to choose what is known and familiar, even when what is known is uncomfortable, painful, and destructive. To revere the past is to take the best and to leave the rest behind. To move into a future free of war, free of oppression, free of poverty, free of bigotry and racism, misogyny and homophobia, xenophobia, and all the fears that divide. We must learn to live with uncertainty and that which we do not know. We do not know how to live in freedom, at least not the freedom we just described. This not knowing is partly due to the failure of imagination and partly due to the aversion of uncertainty. What if we imagined the future as benevolent? What if we truly believed that a peaceful coexistence on this planet is possible? What if we imagined such a future and began to live into it now? What if we truly possessed the humility to admit that we do not have all the answers to the world's problems? What if we were truly okay with not knowing the answers? What if we knew that we possess the ways to greet each unfolding event with grace? What if we knew that we possess the strength and courage to meet each challenge with a sense of adventure? What if we worked to be skillful at living with our anxiety dragons so that we might choose new possibilities with uncertain outcomes? Maybe then we would live more fully in the present moment. Maybe then our lives would flow with more ease. Maybe then we would dance on the edge of mystery, embracing that unknown partner in life. Maybe then we would live as the poet Rilke suggests when he says, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue." Do not seek to know the answers, which cannot be given you because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. How beautiful. Reverend Daugert closes her reflection on uncertainty, saying, "The past will always be with us. Yet life moves ever onward. The light of the future is always dawning. We live on the edge of the great mystery. Of this, we can be certain." Our relationships together, living with uncertainty, gives us a chance for us to rest in the embrace of shared ministry. The root of the word ministry is to serve. I am here to serve this fellowship as a guide and a companion on the journey as you seek to find your new settled minister. And along the way, we will together share in the tasks of ministry it takes to get there. Reverend Gordon McKeeman wrote that ministry is a quality of relationship between and amongst human beings that beckon forth hidden possibilities, and that it is inviting people into deeper, more constant, more reverent relationship with the world and with one another. Here at UUFC, we answer this invitation to shared ministry as we serve and bring forth the best in each other. As Reverend Dillman Sorrells read in the reading this morning, ministry is what we all do together. Together on this path, we will be in community that affirms and beckons the hidden possibilities, invites us into deep, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forward our heritage of hope and liberation. Together, we will celebrate the triumphs of our human spirits, the miracles of birth and life, the wonders of devotion and sacrifice. And in grief, we will come together to say yes to life. Together, we will minister to each other and know that what we do is a salve for the uncertainty of the present. We will be reassured by lostness found, fragments reunited, wounds healed, and joys shared. Ministry is what we all do together. We come to the end of our worship service today, and now we extinguish our flame, but not the light of truth. The warmth of community or the fire of commitment, these we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace.